Living Local presents Biz Buzz 413 with your host, Jill Monson.
Before we get started with today's episode of Biz Buzz 413, I'd like to thank our first ever Biz Buzz 413 groundbreaker sponsor, Home City Development. Home City Development has been building better neighborhoods since 1967. Based out of Springfield, Mass., Home City believes everyone deserves a quality home because when people have a place to call home, communities thrive. As our first ever sponsor, words are not enough. And for those of you who know me, I'm not often speechless. Thank you so much, Home City Development. A couple additional quick partner shoutouts. Tiger Web Designs. Thanks for making us look awesome on the World Wide Web. And thank you to my company, Hop More, confidence coaching, training, and public speaking for emerging leaders. And of course, thank you to livinglocal413.org. Welcome in. It is Biz Buzz 413, and I am your host, Jill Monson. I'm having so much fun. I had no idea when I started doing this show as part of Living Local 413 that I would get to talk. I mean, I guess I should have imagined in the 413, Hampton, Hampshire, Franklin, and Berkshire counties, there are so many cool people. And slowly but surely, I think I'm talking to them all. So it's been awesome. But I am always looking for suggestions and recommendations. So what we're looking for is who is doing what. And that means in government, it means in private business, it means in nonprofit, what is going on in the area. But also if you are like, it's not that I have something going on, but I have these questions and something that's burning desire to know more about, let me know that. And then I'll find the expert to share about it. That's the whole point of BizBuzz 413. So make sure you email me. You can do so at BizBuzz, which is BizBuzz. So BizBuzz at livinglocal413.org. And you can share your ideas for engaging conversations and insightful stories. That's what we're looking for. So I hope to hear from you and please give me suggestions because I want to get to know the people I don't know. This guest I actually do know. Our careers and our paths have crossed at various times along our journey. Today, I welcome Mary-Anne Schelb from JGS Lifecare. She's the Regional Director of Business Development for Western Massachusetts and Connecticut. And we're going to talk about JGS Lifecare. And then we're going to also dive in just a little smidge into some of the fun stuff that Mary-Anne does when she's not conquering the world with JGS. Is that cool, Mary-Anne?
That sounds good to me, Jill.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. This is such an area of importance to me. I have aging parents. I make the joke all the time that I fly to Florida to babysit the old people, but aging parents and been taking care of an aging neighbor, and I'm learning so much. And I think there is still so much to know. So I wanted to start with when people hear of JGS Lifecare, they know it, I think. I think a lot of people in the four counties know the brand because you've been around forever. But I think it would be important to start maybe with that 30,000 foot explanation of JGS. And then, how do you guys describe yourself as different? What do you do different?
Sure. So JGS Lifecare is a 23-acre campus of care right here in Longmeadow, Mass. And we are soup to nuts. So we say we are the solution to any and all of your elder care needs because we've got everything from independent living, assisted living, we've got a home care as well as hospice, we've got an adult day health, 2 state-of-the-art rehabs, as well as a long-term care.
And that's definitely something that before, researching your, for this call, I didn't realize the depth of services. I knew what you did, but I didn't realize how extensive and cross lateral, I guess, so if someone goes into something that is early care, but then needs further care, they're able to stay with your campus of services by having all that available to them, right?
Correct. And there's not, so some of them, right? So you look at a continuing care retirement community, a CCRC, and those are also great. The thing with those is you have a pretty hefty buy-in. So JGS is a nonprofit and we don't have the hefty buy-in. So basically, for the risk of sounding like a Liberty Mutual commercial, you only pay for what you need.
That's so funny. We were just talking, I've been in Florida recently with babysitting the parents. parents, and we were talking about the commercials, and do I like Mayhem, and do I like the one that like all those. That's so funny that you
Right,
brought that up.
right.
So one thing I noticed though is like when people think of JGS, I would assume, at least myself, that I always thought about Longmeadow being kind of the hub of the campus community and all the branches that you guys offer. But really, JGS services, they extend, and I know this from your title alone, but they extend not just around the valley, but beyond. So can you tell me a little bit about where your service areas are?
Sure. So JGS Lifecare was a standalone in Longmeadow for years, right? So we've been around. Jewish Geriatric Services is what the
Hmm.
JGS stands for. And literally, we're over 100 years old. We had started in Mason Square in Springfield.
Hmm.
And since then we've grown and we've really, I think there was a few years back where any standalone, I think any standalone in healthcare is like a house of cards and one, big storm and you could blow over. And we were going through a tough time. And at the time, Legacy Life Care, who's out in the Boston area, it was really Chelsea Jewish at the time. It's a father and son, the Bermans, Adam and Barry Berman. They actually have Chelsea Jewish. They had a greenhouse model of care. We were building a greenhouse. We formed a relationship just because we wanted to get some pointers on the greenhouse when we built the Sossin Center. And after them seeing that we were going through a tough time, I look at Adam Berman like he is absolutely brilliant. He's got some colleagues that really can bring it together and can troubleshoot pretty much anything. They came here, they helped us
Wow.
really put a foundation underneath JGS Life Care. And with that, JGS Life Care and Chelsea Jewish formed this Legacy Life Care, which is almost like this consulting and management. And we thought, wow, if we could help JGS do what we did with them, we could help others. And now we have 8 different campuses across. We've got one in Connecticut, one here in Western Mass, and then 6 out in Eastern Mass.
Amazing. I love hearing about when somebody goes, uh-oh, something, whatever the uh-oh is in whether you're a business or you're a nonprofit, right? And then they go, who can help and how can we be open to evolving? One thing you mentioned is what JGS, originally stood for, and being that it was within the Jewish community. So I'm curious now, as JGS is it only for those of Jewish faith, or is it expanded beyond?
No. So, I mean, early on, I think we had majority of the Jewish population, but now I would say that we are so diverse and we serve all faiths. So we always, even though we were founded on Jewish principles, we always served all faiths.
Okay.
But now it seems like we're just diversified across the board. So any walk of life is welcome here.
And I love that because I think that, sadly, when something is named after in any group, if you will, right? And I've talked to in the past, I interviewed Shannon from the Martin Luther King Center, and we were talking about that, right? Like I'm not a woman of color. So I was like, but I'm in the neighborhood, like I live in the neighborhood with MLK. So I was like, can I be a part of that organization? It was like, yes. And so it's like the benefit and the negative of, the name being affiliated with any, specific group. But it's nice to know, and I want our listeners to hear that JGS, if you're Jewish, if you're agnostic, if you're Christian, if you believe in, Buddha, whatever your thing is, you are welcome.
That is why we changed our name and we rebranded to JGS because we didn't want people to think you just needed to be Jewish to come.
I think that's great. It's interesting because I mentioned my neighbor. So I had been taking care of 2 neighbors, and one of them unexpectedly passed away not too long ago now. And so I'm helping his husband, and his husband is in an assisted living. But man, there nobody. It's like, I mean, I don't have children, but I assume it's like when you have a baby, nobody gives you the manual, right, on how to like raise this little human. Nobody does it on the reverse end either. And I'm finding like I'm super confused all the time. And so I've talked to a few folks on the podcast that have different services, nurse advocates and things that will help. And I so appreciative because I think we have an aging population and people like myself and you, Mary-Anne, who are of that age where we're trying to help the seniors in our life, whether it be parents or neighbors, friends. So there was a blog that you had, and I'll try my best to remember to link it, but there was a blog that was done not too long ago in August about things to consider when choosing an assisted living community. And I thought it was really valuable. And I'll share the whole blog so people that are interested can read it. But if you could share just 1 or 2 things that you think you would like to make sure that people are aware of when they're choosing. And now, whether they're choosing JGS or they're choosing anything, but any community, what should they keep in mind for that loved one they're trying to help?
Sure. So the first thing that I tell people is to look at options. You don't want to go to one because your friend told you they're great. And that's great. I think word of mouth is fantastic, but in order to appreciate the one that your friend thinks is great, go visit at other residences.
Mm,
You want to walk in. You want to visit at least three. You want to walk in. You want to see how the employees look. Do they look happy? How do the residents look? Do they look happy? Talk to some of the residents. Talk to some of the employees. There's no reason why you can't go in and unannounced, right? When you book a tour, they might clean up the lobby and they might look at, tell everybody to put up space. But if you just walk in, you want to see how it looks raw, right? You don't want to have it staged. You want to be able to walk in off the street and look to see what a day in the life at this particular residence would look like. And are the residents happy? Are the employees happy? Because those are the people that are going to be caring for your mom and dad.
mm,
So I think it's huge to walk in. You want to look at the feel. Does it feel like you could be home here? To be honest, what does it smell like? Is there is there like,
mhm,
apple pie cooking in the background? Is there, lunch? You could tell what they're going to be
mhm.
having for lunch. Or does it smell more like a nursing home setting? So, you want to have, more institutional is not what you're looking for. You want a home-like environment.
I love that. Yeah. So in case just popped into the podcast, well, first of all, it's, the great thing about podcast, rewind, because Mary-Anne is the expert, but basically in a nutshell, visiting multiple places, no matter the recommendations you get and checking them out. And I love the idea of not only are the residents happy, because again, sometimes they're just like, that's who they are as people, but if the employees are happy, because I do agree, if the person is unhappy and they just fling your loved one into bed when it's time for, bed, then that's not going to long term be what you want. I love the idea of thinking about, does it feel like home? And it's all your senses, right? The smells, the sounds. If it's a really, really noisy facility and your loved one likes quiet, then you want to consider that. So great recommendations, Mary-Anne. What I'm finding as I go forward in this now and start to unpack all there is in elder care
Mhm.
is there's just a lot, like a lot to figure out. So as an advocate, how does JGS Lifecare help individuals, either the elder or their loved ones, because it's all part and parcel, right? How do you guys help navigate this process?
So, I mean, me personally, I've been in the business, over a couple of decades, dare I say.
I was gonna say, but you're only 29. It's fabulous.
Exactly,
So
exactly. But I want to say that you really have to just take the time to listen
mm,
and just really think about being the solution. And it might be where JGS Lifecare and or an affiliate is not the answer, but that's okay, right? So being a nonprofit, we're not pushing for bottom line. And do we still need to make money to keep the lights on? Absolutely. But our first priority is the person themselves and their family. Why? Because they're coming to us with a problem. We need to be the ones with the solution. And again, it may or may not be us. It might make more sense to, stay at home with home care, or it might make more sense to, look at a place. Maybe they need a certain, income level. Maybe they need two bedrooms. Maybe they need two bathrooms. I mean, there's always something that somebody needs. So if you get quiet enough to be able to listen to them, we make a really big difference with not pushing a sale. We are solving a problem.
I love that. And I love the idea. I mean, literally what you started with, which is yes, would we love you to be a part of the JGS, community and family? Yeah. But sometimes it's not the right fit. And I think, and I believe this, I mean, I'm a marketer at heart. Anybody who knows Jill Monson knows I love marketing. And that is the part I feel is so missed in the sales process by so many, not just in the elder care space, but in life, right? Like they want you so desperately to want what they have that they forget that the loyal customer, the right client, the right patient, the right member, whatever the answer is there, will be, again, loyal and consistently in support of you as a business, a nonprofit, if you make sure they're the right fit. And so that is brilliant. And I'm appreciative of that. Um, Before we switch gears and talk about the secret life Mary-Anne. I wanted, it's not so secret. I love it. But I wanted to just wrap up a little bit talking about JGS to ask you. I understand, and again, I did some research and I was going through various blogs and such, and I came across one that made my heart sing because anybody who knows anything about me, do not stand between me and my cup of coffee. I am like a bulldog when it comes to my coffee. And I didn't know you guys have a coffee shop and a gift shop on campus. Is that correct?
We do. We do, as a matter of fact. So, one thing, and one of the main reasons I am here is we have a huge volunteer base. I mean, it really is, and not to just tout it because I work here, but it really is a great place to work. And because of that, we draw in a very big and robust volunteer base. With that said, the volunteers run both the coffee shop and the gift shop. And they really, I mean, the coffee shop is great. The coffee's great. And by the way, we have the best ice cream, not for,
Oh, you're killing me.
I know. You'll have to come over. I'll buy you a cup of coffee and an ice cream. But the gift shop also, we've got, sometimes we take donations. We've got people that actually will go out. I think that right now we're looking to purchase some new items, which will be good because I'll tell you what, I've probably bought about 10 scarves from the gift
Wow.
shop.
I love
They
that.
have the best scarves, and I love scarf season. And it's right about now where it's just a little chilly and you just wrap your neck. So there's all cute things. There's cards, there's jewelry, there's snacks. There's just little things that you wouldn't think of that you could just stop in, grab something, and then go see your loved one.
I'm assuming because it's volunteer run that anything purchased goes back into funding JGS programming and services, right? Like it's you're using it as a way to help the nonprofit. So to me, that makes me feel even better
Yeah.
when I can buy a cup of coffee and it's good. You know, it's not only good coffee, but for a good cause. It's like win-win. And I think and hours, I always say check Google, call ahead if you need to. But last I knew, the hours are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 3. And what I love
Correct.
about that in our community, every local coffee shop in the world seems to wrap up like right at 1 o'clock. So I can't go anywhere like in the afternoon. So I love it. And I think like, you know, even though I don't maybe have someone at JGS coming there and feeling the energy, coming to the coffee shop is, you know, just a great opportunity. It's at Longmeadow's campus, correct?
It is. It's
Okay.
right at 770 Converse Street.
I'm sorry. And I do think you cut up. So just repeat. It's 770, you said?
Yep, 770 Converse Street, right at the main building
Yep.
because it is 23 acres. So you're going to the main entrance of the nursing home. You
Thank
walk in and it's right past the lobby.
Thank you for that because I, you know, again, if I have to walk too far for the coffee, I'm angry when I get there. People talk about hangry, and I'm like, nope, me, it's all about the coffee, 1,000%. All right, so we have to switch gears just a little bit because you're a woman of mystery, Mary-Anne. You've got a lot, and all, and the truth be told, it all I think intersects, intertwines, if you will. But not only do you work at JGS as your full-time quote unquote job, I always say that because I think it's your passion and your purpose, but I'd be remiss if, you know, I didn't mention that you also have your own venture. And that's really in line with everything we've discussed and that it fulfills the passion you have for holistic health. You're the owner of Intentional Calm, which I think, you know, again, in doing my research, it was like, you know, the being your best self and living your best life. And as in my company, Pop More, that's what it's all about, right? You got to live because as the elder care side of things, we don't know how long we get. So live your best life. But can you really just tell the listeners about the mission of Intentional Calm so that they also, if not JGS needs now, they can look into Intentional Calm?
Sure. I think maybe my years in elder care have really geared myself towards wanting to help people absolutely live their best life and be their best self because this is, you don't get a do-over.
Nope.
This is it. You know, you get one life, so you want to really make it count and you don't want to have regrets. My husband and I say that every day. We want to make sure that we have no regrets and we are living life to the fullest. So the holistic consulting, so Intentional Calm is holistic consulting, and there's a variety of services, whether it be Reiki, cranial sacral therapy, chakra balancing. I've created 3 self-help journals,
Oh,
and
wow.
Yep. And I even create handmade healing jewelry pieces made specifically for clients for specific things. But I really help people feel comfortable in their own skin and help people get out of their own way.
Well, man, if so many people need that. And I'm not trying to knock people right now, but I think like we're a society, we're a culture, we're a mechanical system of movement that is not healthy and positive. And I see it every day. I'm like, wow, if you realized, that if you just took a little time. And the other, I think people fear, some people, not everybody, but they
Mhm.
fear the term holistic, right? They think that you're gonna that you have, armpit hair down to your knees, and that you're gonna make them into little pod people with some, voodoo stuff. And there's a misperception for those who aren't in the holistic space. How do you overcome that? Tell me, I'm a regular Joe. I've never had Reiki, let's say, which is not the case, but if you've never had Reiki, if you've never had any of the, intentionally calm practices, how do you introduce somebody that's listening to holistic care without it being terrifying?
So I always think of intentional calm as being very grounded.
Mm.
And I mean, me, myself, I went to school for accounting. Things were black, white, maybe a little red. There was no gray in my world at all.
I didn't know that
So
about you, that you went for accounting. That's fabulous. Sorry.
yes, I know. So, and here we are now. But I really think that it was something that was not easily explained to me, but easily accepted as I was more introduced to it. So I
Mm.
think it is easier for me to explain to someone how grounding and just energy, just simple,
Yep.
the air we breathe, the water we drink,
Yep.
right? It has a vibration to it. When you go to a registered dietitian, they tell you to eat live foods. What
Hmm.
does that mean? That means eating, raw fruits and vegetables and things more at its source as opposed to processed. Why? Why? Because the vibration is higher,
Hmm.
right? So everything has a vibration to it, whether it's Reiki. And, I think that now it's more science-based than anything else because there are tools that can measure the vibration of a human body, a healthy human body versus a diseased human body, and they
Mm.
vibrate differently.
Mm.
So I think nowadays it's a little bit easier to explain to someone. And then you talk to someone and it's like, listen, people are like, I have a good job, I have a good family, I seem pretty happy, but there's just something a little off. It could be that energetic shift needs to be reset a little bit. They come in for a session, we do a little bit of tweaking and all of a sudden they're feeling better. Maybe there's something to that
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah. No, and I love it because I think that what I love about the holistic space is that there are variables within it. And so there are different things for different people. Like I struggle and I've been working really hard. I've been going to some meetings around meditation because I struggle really, really. Like I've tried yoga, I've tried meditation,
Mhm.
I've tried all these things. And my ADHD brain, right? But what I found is that there are different types of yoga, different types of meditation, and different things within the holistic space that people can try. You're not, again, just like with JGS, you're not saying this one thing is the answer for everybody. You're saying these are some different things. Let's find out what's the answer for you. So
Tools in the toolbox.
I'm so sorry that we're going to have to wrap up, but I will put in the chat all of the contact information that I have for you in terms of websites and emails and all of that. But can you give just in closure so people have it? Can you just give the website for both JGS and Intentional Calm so they can find you in both of your spaces, and then I'll put your email and phone number and everything into our notes of the podcast.
Perfect. So JGS is jgslifecare.org. Legacy Life Care, which is we're an affiliate of, is legacylifecare.org. They could get a hold of me at Intentional Calm is intentionalcalm.com.
Excellent. Thank you so much. In case you don't know who I've been talking to, it is Mary-Anne Schelb from JGS Lifecare, the Regional Director of Business Development for Western Mass and Connecticut, but also the founder of Holistic Care through Intentional Calm. And I am Jill Monson, your host of BizBuzz 413. I am always looking for great people like Mary-Anne and like all the various guests we've had So if you think you know someone, please reach out. I am specifically looking for more individuals for our Beyond the Biz Card series, where we chat with great people doing great things in the 413 and sort of dig into their life and their why and their story and kind of go behind the scenes a little. So if you know someone for Beyond the Biz Card, please email me. You can do so at bizbuzz@livinglocal413.org. And as I close every episode with the reminder that you're going to go to bed and you're going to wake up. And when you do, God willing, when you wake up, you say, guess what? I live in the best part of the country. I live right here in the 413. Thanks, everybody.
Biz Buzz 413 was brought to you by Living Local.